Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. I'm Compai. I am Sosua's voice of reason. Had an interesting conversation with two very close friends of mine. One who is in the Dominican Congress and another one who's a very high police official. I got some interesting insight to share, but it's all based on my personal opinion. But in my personal opinion, I believe this is where you need to stay on your next vacation.
There's a lot of places to rent in Sosua. If you're looking for peaceful, affordable, and tranquil, look at Casa De Compai, Sosua's hidden gem. When you're ready to reserve at Casa De Compai, my contact information is in the description down below.
Thanks for watching my advertisement. If you want to contact me, my contact information is in the description down below. So guys, before I get into this, let me just say this. Do not bet the farm on this video. Do not book a vacation based on this video. Do not cancel a vacation. Just take this as my 2 cents based on conversations I've had with two people who are in positions of authority. I'm kind of skirting the line on one of my cardinal rules is where I say don't get involved in Dominican politics. This whole topic is about Dominican politics. This is to the core. I'm not crossing the line, but I'm going up to the line because this is where I live. This is where I'm invested. This is where I do business. I have a vested interest in this. And I want to see Sosua get better, not go backwards. In the past, you would always see crackdowns happen before the high season. I've seen them roll up all the way up into December. I've seen some crackdowns. But come high season, it's almost like hands off. All right, we need to step away, let everybody make their money, let things go back to status quo, go back to normal. What all the snowbirds, what all the tourists, give them what they expect, which is the wise thing to do. I see the same thing happening again this year. That's what I'm seeing. And I was talking to a buddy of mine just 10 minutes ago who has a hotel downtown. If you ever stayed in Casa De Compai, you probably heard us drinking at my bar. Right? So he said, yeah, I kind of see things backsliding a little bit. So what do I think is going to happen? This is just my personal opinion. I think the government is not going to come out and say anything. I think the government's just going to let things slide. We're going to turn a blind eye and we will address it when we have to. If it gets over the line, we'll do something. They have to backslide on this. Guys, they got to regress a little bit. I don't think they were prepared for what happened. I honestly really don't. And that pretty much, not to talk bad about my host nation, this is a culture that really does something and then they change based on the reaction. They don't think things through like us North Americans, though. They just don't do that. And I don't want to sound cruel. I'm not talking bad about them, but it's something they don't do. If you've been down here long enough, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't think they really thought this through to the level that they should have. And I think it had such a negative financial impact on the locals that they were forced to do something. Because this is a constitutional republic where people will go to the voting booths. And I think they just realized we went too far. We just really did more damage than they intended. So that's why I'm saying things are going to backslide. Things are going to get, go back to the way not they were before, but certain things are going to be more prominent than they had been in the last 2.5 months. But there's one elephant in the room we have to address. And I'll play that video in a minute. This is the week after Halloween. Right now, social media on Sosua is blowing up about what happened in Playa Chiquita. Let me explain something to everybody. The Dominicans and the Haitians are smart people. They're really good at understanding cultures and personalities of cultures. As foreigners, whether you're European, Canadian, American, we have done a fantastic job of defining who we are. And the Dominicans believe us. So they know when they're dealing with Germans are going to culturally act a certain way. If they're dealing with English Canadians, they know how the English Canadians are going to react versus the French Canadians. They know how us Americans act. So they know that when they go into business with us, a personal interaction, they know pretty much how you're going to be as a person based on your culture. If we want things to go back to Sosua being more funner, we got to do a better job of policing our own. That nonsense that happens in Playa Chiquita, that has to stop. We can't have that, guys. And this goes into the crackdown. This is why we're at the point we are at. This goes right into why they've changed laws and bylaws in condo complexes. They changed rules and regulations in gated community. It's because of behavior. You get a good weekend and you come down and you do that. You can't be acting like that. I know everybody says it, but it's up to your individual community to start policing your own, because it's getting to a crunch line down here, guys. We've already seen where they said, you know what? And this crackdown was grass movements. This came from the bottom. You had a local population who said, even though we're poorer than you are, we don't want your money. There was enough of them to say that. And they knew it was going to hurt their own, and they still pushed it. Think about that for a second. They had a good idea what the consequences were. To what extent, I don't think they thought it out. But they still said, this is what we want. And they implemented it, and they saw it through very hard, knowing it was going to hurt them financially, and they still said it. And it was based on behavior. It was based on how people act when they come down here, and how they handle themselves, and how they represent themselves online. So if you want things to become more funner again in Sosua, act accordingly, guys. Don't stop your car in the middle of the street to get a WhatsApp number. Don't drive like madmen. Eight people to, 8 quads screaming down the streets doing wheelies. Don't be smoking pot everywhere. If you're in a gated community or condo complex, don't blare your music. Don't have chica fights. Be a good neighbor. And that's what this has boiled down to. As a lot of us foreigners, we're not good neighbors anymore. And that's why I believe you're seeing everything you saw in Sosua. And I think that incident in Playa Chiquita will give a lot of ammunition to the people that said, I told you so. We don't want this in our town. We cannot give them any more reasons to say, we would rather not have your money, go away. Because it affects a lot of people, and it affects a lot of good people. That's the sad part. Everybody suffers, all right? It's just, you can't separate that. And I think if we have a couple more incidents of that again, who knows what's going to come out of that, because that's just bad for the overall tourist industry of this country. And it is going to come to a head. So I think, talking to my friends, and my personal opinion, I'm not quoting them, I'm not using their words, I'm not saying I have inside information, I am not saying that at all. Based on that conversation, given the amount of crackdowns I've seen before, given the time of the year, and given how bad things are financially for the core people who worked in the tourist industry in downtown Sosua, how bad they're hurting, I think they're just going to let things slide a little bit, get through the high season, and then we'll see what comes on the other end. But guys, that's my point. That's what I wanted to give people a little heads up who are planning trips, even though I'm saying don't book because of this video and don't cancel. A little information would help. This is just my insight. Let's see. Let's see what happens. So guys, thank you for watching. How about a subscription? How about a like? Keep the great comments coming. And always remember, keep personal private and private personal. Peace out.